So if there was a team that I wanted to get my hands on the most, it would have to be Manchester United, because they have signed so many interesting players, I would say, that it will be interesting to see how they adapt into their team. And I know I've said interesting 3 times, so I'm just going to keep saying it. It will be interesting to see. So why don't we take a look at the transfers in and out for Manchester United. Wow, that was rapid, Jacory. I'm so happy, so proud of you, man. Good stuff. All right, in Memphis Depay from PSV, Matteo Darmian, who's apparently, Darmian has already impressed in pre-season 2. I watched one game in which he was, I would say, a good acquisition already for Manchester United. So the 2 most known, Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich and Morgan Schneiderlin. I must pay homage to the person who had the best comment ever in the world of Manchester United, saying that Manchester United should have signed Schneider so that they could have had the full evolution in Pokemon terms. Schneider, Schneiderlin, and Schweinsteiger. Oh, it was awesome. And at the bottom there, if you look at it at first glance, you might have thought that it said Sergio Ramos, but unfortunately that deal did not go through. That would have completed the full puzzle, I think, for this season's Manchester United team, but instead, Sergio Romero from Sampdoria. And on the way out, Tom Cleverley, thank God! Every Manchester United fan will be saying that Tom Cleverley is finally off their payroll. He's went to Everton on a free. Ben Amos, Tom Thorpe, and all the way down Nani to Fenerbahce, and Robin van Persie also to Fenerbahce. So Fenerbahce got a couple of good acquisitions from the Manchester United camp, I would say. But we want to talk about how all these new signings will fit in, what formation Louis Van Gaal will play, and how ultimately will Manchester United figure this season in the Premier League. All that stuff will be nicely put to you when we walk over to my nice graphic. Come with me. So here's how I think Manchester United will line up this season. I'm still using my gavel because Jason's still a cheap ass. So here it is, 4-2-3-1. Louis Van Gaal is the type of manager who will adjust his formation based on who is performing, I think, throughout the season. I do hope, and I think every other Manchester United fan hopes as well, they'll stick with 4 at the back. So this is how they've kind of been lining up through pre-season, and it will change based on injuries, based on personnel, based on who's performing. But I'm not too fond of Blaine being centre-back. I think he's a good centre-back in terms of he reminds me a lot of Ricardo Carvalho. He's not the biggest in terms of putting in all those tackles that are necessary, but he'll read the game, so I think he'll still be a good fit in there. But Blaine Jones, both in the centre. Darmian has been impressing as a wing-back. He's definitely a player who will adapt to the Premier League. He's strong and he's fast, and he knows the game inside out, and that's what you need, especially looking at Manchester United's history. Gary Neville had a fantastic football IQ. That's something that Darmian will have to replicate in there. Luke Shaw looks like he's coming back to form. He was playing a lot better in the second half of the season. I think he'll do well in there. Now, this is where it gets complicated with all that talent, all those long names. How are you going to fit them all in the same field? Schneiderlin and Carrick, I think it will be between those two. Who's in form, I think? I think Van Gaal's got a soft spot in his heart for Michael Carrick, especially the way that Manchester United performed last year when he was playing. I think that he will probably be the go-to defensive midfielder at the start of the season. Schneiderlin will be used, there's no doubt, with that transfer fee, with that talent, with the possibility of being I would say, a fantastic Manchester United midfielder. He will be used. Schweinsteiger, I think, has got to be constant. I know pre-season Van Gaal's had some strong words to say about him. Just disregard that. That's not going to come into play when it comes to the start of the Premier League season this weekend. Schweinsteiger, for me, has to play. Herrera has not been used as much or not been starting as much for Manchester United in pre-season. I don't understand why. Maybe there might be fitness issues. Maybe there might be adjustment issues to all the other midfielders coming in. I thought he was fantastic for Manchester United. There's games where he would just change the game at the drop of a hat. He's very quick with the ball at his feet. It's what Manchester United need in this attacking role to link up to the likes of Wayne Rooney. But don't be surprised if you see Fellaini in there. Depay's been playing in there. He's been impressing in pre-season. He's strong and he's fast, creative. Could be good to use alongside Rooney. They've got options. He's got options. Van Gaal does have options. Fellaini will make appearances. I've not put him on there because that's not why. Ideally, I wouldn't start him. But he will be making appearances. You know how strong he is in the air. You know how useful he is in big games when it comes to physical presence, especially against the likes of Chelsea. But I don't imagine him starting in what I would predict for my 4-2-3-1. Young, resurgent last season, needs to play in the wide, cutting in on that right foot, always deadly. Mata adapted into that lifestyle in the right midfield, kind of cutting in more, but was still devastating when he found space. And Wayne Rooney, of course, without a striker added, it's a lot on him. He has to show that he can still come up with the goals big. He can still be consistent, not go through those phases of scoring 4 or 5 goals in 2 or 3 games and then dropping off. Rooney has to be consistent. 1 goal every 1 or 2 games needs to be there, I'm afraid, from him. He needs to come up with at least 20 to 30 goals this season if Manchester United want to win this Premier League. So based on this team, do I think they can win? 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 Do I think they can win the Premier League? Yes, I think they can. I think it would be disrespectful to the Premier League as a whole to say that Manchester United couldn't. I know many people have laughed. I actually had a clip on 120 Sports that I talked about this, whether I think Manchester United could win. To say they couldn't is basically disregarding the Premier League in its last 10 years of history. Did Manchester United have the best team when they won it in 12-13? No way. But they still won it because it's in their blood. Even when you bring in these new faces, it soon gets engraved into their culture that this is a winning team. Not winning the Premier League is not good enough for Manchester United. So your objective, even though Van Gaal took over in this transition period, it was considered successful, they still want trophies. And Manchester United's goal this season is to win this Premier League. Do not let that get confused by this whole transitional period. They're not going to want to take 2 or 3 or 4 years to get back into the winning ways at the top of the Premier League. They want it back this year, and that's why I think that with the signings they've made, they're out for blood. You don't sign Schweinsteiger because you want to get into Europe. You don't sign Schweinsteiger because you want to sit and kind of rival Chelsea. You sign him because you want to win this league. So on that note, could they win it? Yes. Do I think they will? No. I still think they'll finish second for me. I think they'll pip Manchester City to being the closest runner with Chelsea. I've already predicted that earlier, but I think second place is where I think Manchester United will finish. Last year I predicted they could win it. They didn't. Maybe this year it might work. A little bit of reverse psychology. Who knows? Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, stay tuned to TYT Sports. Big games this weekend. I will be in Scotland. I will be filming it from Scotland. So if you're in Scotland, say what's happening. Nice to see you guys. Come back to TYT Sports.